Hello, and welcome to Steph Doll. I am, festively, Steph. This year, a few of my doll friends and I came together for a Holiday Eleganza collab, but more about that at the end of the video. This year has arguably been the year of Barbie, and Holiday Barbies have been around since 1988. This was the one I had growing up, so I decided to make my own version of a Holiday Barbie. Admittedly, I'm not much of a Christmas person, so I'm going for a slightly unconventional color scheme of purple and hollow, rather than the traditional red, green, white, gold, or silver. But Barbie herself has dabbled in other colors for her holiday dolls, so I feel justified in my decision. Now let's get to the doll. For my base, I'll be using this Made to Move Barbie with the Millie face sculpt, as it's the current default face of Barbie as a character. A lot of people seem to not like this sculpt, and I wonder if it's just due to the fact that there are so many dolls in the Barbie line that have it, because as I said, it's the default Barbie face right now. I remove her head and cut off all of her hair. Newer Mattel dolls have the ends of the hair melted inside of the head, so I like to squish the head to break up any large pieces and make them easier to remove. Hello, Dee Dee. You wanna say hello to the people? There's a rather large ridge of vinyl on the mold line of her head, so I carefully trim that away. I probably didn't have to, but it would have bugged me if I didn't, so I did. Since her factory face was shiny, I thought it would be a lot harder to remove, like with the BTS and Creatable World dolls. But nope, it wiped right off with acetone. So unfortunately, I did not get the funny face on the cotton pad thing. I apologize. I mixed some acrylic paint with Mod Podge and paint her scalp. I'll be rerouting her with this purple and silver nylon blend, and I'll mix in some of this metallic white as well. I ended up rerouting off camera since for the first time ever I used the full length of the fiber, and it was really unwieldy. I actually had to drape the hank over the back of a chair just so it wouldn't get messed up. But it's so long and so pretty. I love it. I squeezed some all-purpose glue into her head and mushed it around with a popsicle stick to make sure all the ends are coated. Then I set her aside to dry. I'll be making her a bodysuit with a separate skirt. These are all the pieces for the bodysuit. I start by sewing the side front pieces to the center front. Then I sew the darts on the bust piece. I'm going to have to trim some of the fabric since I changed my design partway through and drafted the bust piece later, but it's an easy fix. Once the bust piece is attached, I can sew on the back pieces at the side seams. I hem the top of the bodysuit and the leg holes with iridescent thread. It's really annoying to work with, but it looks really pretty, so it's worth it. Then I sew up the back seam. Because the fabric has really good stretch, I ended up being able to close it all the way without needing a closure, which is really cool. Now I just need to sew the crotch seam. And here's the finished bodysuit. I'm honestly kind of surprised at how well it turned out. I cut out a half circle skirt out of purple velvet and rounded out the corners. I had already ironed on some interfacing off camera and marked out some guidelines because I'm going to be doing a metric butt ton of hand beading. I always think, oh yes, something simple this time, and then I do something like this. It's always the way. The beading is actually really straightforward since it's a simple grid pattern, so it's all straight lines. I pick up 3 beads at a time on my needle, pass it through the fabric, then back up through where my thread came out before, like a backstitch. I pass my needle through the same 3 beads again, and then I can repeat the whole process over and over and over. It gets a little trickier when doing the other set of lines since they cross over, but it's pretty much the same. Off camera, I also added some iridescent bicone beads to the center of every other square. Now I can take this very long, thin piece of hollow fabric, fold it in half, and pleat it down to make a ruffle for the edge of the skirt. And there we are! Now it's time to hide all the ugly bits with a lining cut from the hollow fabric. Next is the waistband. I sew it on good side to good side. Then I can fold in the sides and tack them down before folding the waistband over and whip stitching it to the lining. And finally, to act as a closure, I sewed on a length of this iridescent trimmed silver ribbon to the inside of the waistband. And there it is all done! It's actually pretty heavy because of all of the beading. I didn't have any suitable shoes in my stock box, so I found these on eBay. I paint them purple to start, making sure I get into all the nooks and crannies of all of the jewels. Then I paint the parts I want silver again with chrome paint. I mixed some black paint with the purple and gave the shoes a wash to bring out some of the detail. They ended up looking a little too aged though, so I went over some of the larger areas with the chrome paint again. I also dry brushed the jewels with white to give them some more dimension and the illusion of shine. And then I went over them with dragonfly glaze to make them sparkle. Then I sealed the shoes with a coat of matte Mod Podge. I wrapped up her hair and sprayed her with a couple of layers of Mr. Super Clear UV Cut Flat. This gives the vinyl a paper-like texture so that I can draw on it with my watercolor pencils. I'm finishing every single layer with some macropearl PearlEx powder because no one can stop. Whenever I want to save my progress or I can't build any more color, I spray on another layer of Mr. Super Clear. I took some inspiration from Anya Taylor-Joy for her eye and eyebrow shape, and I think it turned out pretty well. I really wanted to keep that purple, silver, and hollow color scheme with her face up as well, so I went for a more cool-toned magenta pastel for her blush, so it would blend a bit better. When I was deciding what to do with this doll, I had to look back at all of the Holiday Barbies over the years to see what elements I liked and what I didn't. I appreciate the Victorian vibes of 1996, and I absolutely love the pink and gold dress from 2009. I remember someone on Insta, I can't remember who, saying that the 2020 dress looks like a chicken nugget, and ever since, that's all I can see when I look at it. I'm sorry if that's all you can see now too. I'm also kicking myself for not grabbing one of the redheads last year. I'd really love to repaint the Odile face sculpt, but she goes for stupid money now. Oh well. I used black acrylic paint to make her lashes and pupils pop a bit more. And with a final dusting of sparkle, her face up is done. I blushed her body off camera and gave her a generous dose of sparkle and a purple manicure. Now I can reattach her head. I styled her hair into a high ponytail and a nearly floor-length rope braid, using wire to secure everything in place. I also added some beaded straps to the bodysuit. So now we have our doll with her bodysuit, her skirt, her shoes, and this necklace I made for her off camera. All that's left to do is finish getting her dressed, and she's done. Honestly, I wasn't sure what I thought about her when I finished her because I'd been staring at her for so long, but after taking a step back and viewing her with fresh eyes, I do think that I've made something that could pass for a collector doll. I mean, maybe not a real one, but you know, the vibe is there. And I'm really pleased. This project felt a bit out of my comfort zone, and I most definitely burned myself out a bit working on her. Don't worry, I'll be getting lots of rest. But I'm so proud of what I created. What do you think of my take on a Holiday Barbie? Did you have one when you were a kid? Or did you want one? If so, which one? Or which one is your favorite? Let me know in the comments down below. please, please, please go and take a look at all of the other absolutely gorgeous dolls in this collab from I Could Do That DIY, DollyAnna, Electric Bunny, Insanely Creating, and BlankSpaceDolls. And a special shout out to Kiro's Workshop, H. Ollie Crafts, Blurred Colors Art, and Feral Dolls. They all ended up having to drop out of the collab for one reason or another, but you may get to see their dolls at a later date, so keep an eye out. And before I go into my usual outro spiel, let me get a little sappy for a minute. I just want to give a massive thank you to every single one of you. I've had a very hard year this year, and working on dolls and making these videos has helped me cope, has helped me pull through. And all of the lovely comments mean so much to me. If I can make even one person happy or entertained with what I do, that's amazing. And there's so many of you now, and I absolutely treasure that. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you'd like to see more from me, and click the bell icon and turn on all notifications so you'll know whenever I post a new video. All of my socials will be linked down below. I'm most active on Instagram. And if you really like what I do, and you want to buy me a coffee or help me afford more supplies, you can find a link to my Ko-fi tip jar in the description below, or you can click on the super thanks button right below this video. Be kind to yourself this holiday season. And until next year, bye!